How's it going, y'all? It is so windy right now. I'm in downtown Lakeville. My first job ever was at Lakeville Family Restaurant, which is just on, the outskirts of downtown Lakeville. It's not a restaurant anymore. I'm sure you can guess why I'm in downtown Lakeville. And yep, because today's video is a virtual tour of Lakeville, Minnesota. I feel like I have so many memories here. I'm excited to show you around. All right, let's do it. Again, my name is Jesse. I'm a real estate agent. I make these videos, but I also run the hardest working real estate team anywhere in the world. We're called To the Twin Cities. So if you're trying to make a move to the Twin Cities, you will be very glad that you got a hold of us any way you can. First of all, visit our website, tothetwincities.com, or you can give us a call or shoot us an email at the info that you see on the screen. There are two things that we are especially good at, and that is helping people relocate from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, to the Twin Cities, and helping first-time home buyers buy their first home ever. All right, enough of that. Right now, I'm in this honestly pretty insane community within Lakeville. I believe it's called the Branchin Farms community, and it is really nice. Obviously, there's like this reservoir. Right up here is like this old farm building that basically the whole community seems to have been built around. There's a basketball court over here. This walking path goes all the way around the lake. Honestly, just such a nice neighborhood. This might be one of my favorite little new build suburban communities anywhere in the Twin Cities. But all right, enough just talking about it. I'm excited to show you around. Let's do it. All right, y'all, right now I'm at Antlers Park, over here, Lake Marion over here, and this is basically like the OG park of Lakeville. Basically like the first park that was ever in Lakeville as Lakeville began to be developed. Burnsville is basically like one of the southernmost suburb of the Twin Cities metro. Technically, I guess Farmington would be a little bit further south, but Lakeville is definitely right there on the edge. To the north of Lakeville, you have Burnsville and Apple Valley, where I grew up. To the east, you have Township Empire and Farmington. To the south is Newmarket / Elko, and to the west is the Credit River Township. I gotta say, I had hardly ever heard of the Credit River Township until I started doing these, and I grew up, I guess, not that far from here. Lakeville is about 20 minutes south of both downtown and Minneapolis. I-35 basically splits Lakeville in half. Maybe not exactly half, but it goes right through the middle of it, and you can take I-35 basically all the way up to Duluth, Minnesota, or you could take it all the way down to Texas. You can also get to the Mall of America or the airport in, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour on the top. And because Lakeville is just south of where I-35 splits into 35W and 35E, it's pretty much equal distance from downtown Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul. Lakeville has a population of 70,000, which honestly kind of blows my mind. I grew up on the southern end of Apple Valley, and literally beyond us was like almost nothing. And when I first started working at Lakeville Family Restaurant, like there were some newer houses in Lakeville, but it didn't take that long to get through the new build. And then you were sort of in the country for a while, and then you would hit the old school downtown, which I always sort of felt like a small town downtown that was not part of the suburbs. It always kind of felt like it was a little bit outside of the city. But now it's kind of like this like happening spot in the downtown, the old school downtown of what is like a giant city with some of the best schools in the entire metro area. Honestly, kind of crazy. And you're probably going to be pretty shocked to hear this, but Lakeville, it's got a lot of lakes. All right, let's hop over here. All right, y'all, I don't know if you can hear this, but there's a lake over here, or like a pond. I'm at Ritter Farm Park, and there's so many frogs over there that I'm actually worried the audio is going to be ridiculous. So I'm walking away from it a little bit. But really, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about what makes Lakeville Lakeville. So on niche.com, overall, Lakeville gets an A. On niche.com, overall, the schools get an A. Basically, the main school district that serves Lakeville is called the Lakeville School District. Probably pretty obvious, but I think some parts of Lakeville are actually served by Independent School District 196. I know that when I was going to school in Apple Valley, some of those kids actually lived in Lakeville. The median single-family home price here in Lakeville is $445,000. That's compared to the median of the Twin Cities, which is $330,000. So it is considerably more expensive here to buy a home. But I'm going to say that one of the biggest reasons for that is that Lakeville has a huge majority of newer homes, with the exception of like a couple developments, primarily the one near the old downtown. That's definitely an older neighborhood. And then there's a few others that maybe are pre-90. But I think it's safe to say that the majority of the homes built here in Lakeville are post-2000. You can get into a single family home here for like $300,000. There's not all that many of them, but they're out there. I think realistically, you're looking at $350,000 to find a pretty nice home here in Lakeville. And then it goes all the way up to like 1.2 million. All right, I'm losing daylight, so I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. All right, see you then. Right now I'm at North Park here in Lakeville. Growing up, this park used to be like the coolest. It was like all wood. I don't know, it felt like Swiss Family Robinsons or something, and just was like a magical park. Now, probably that's not the safest thing anymore. So now it's more plasticky and probably rubberized and much safer. Yeah, obviously North Park, giant park, and it's got this playground, it's got several soccer fields, it's got a baseball diamond, and a ton of walking paths. I don't know if you can see back there, it goes way back there, and then the paths just keep going. And I don't know, that sums up Lakeville pretty good. That basically brings me to pros and cons section of Lakeville. And the first pro I'm gonna say is that there's a ton of really beautiful natural spaces and park. It is just a very accommodating place for people who like outdoor activity and just generally space, right? That's kind of the takeaway. The next pro, I say this in so many of these videos, is that Lakeville has very good schools. And as far as I know, the sports programs here in Lakeville are quite competitive. Another pro, which some people might not like this, but I don't know, to me, it's probably a pro, is that it's basically like a new build paradise. Like there are so many new builds coming up here in Lakeville that it's kind of insane. And the population growth and development that Lakeville has seen in the past couple decades is like almost staggering. And one thing that you get with that, with these like newer build homes, is you get large lots and generally a lot of square footage in those homes. And it's just a very like suburban oasis where all of the houses are far apart. Everybody kind of has a little bit of privacy while still being in these really beautiful, beautiful neighborhoods. Finally, the last pro I'm gonna say is that Lakeville has fundamentally all of the conveniences that anybody would ever need. You could probably live in Lakeville your whole life, never leave it, and never really have a necessity to leave. But yeah, I'm gonna hop over to a neighborhood and we're gonna talk about some of the cons. All right, right now I'm in what I think is like a pretty good example of one of the more modest neighborhoods in Lakeville. But still, to get into a neighborhood like this, you're probably still gonna have to spend more than the median single family home price in the Twin Cities. I think probably realistically $350 might get you into a neighborhood like this, but it also might be closer to $400, whereas the average single family home price in the Twin Cities is $330,000. And to me, that's the first con of Lakeville, is that it's expensive. Really, to get in here, on the low end, you're talking $300,000, probably more likely $330,000, $350,000 for really to find most things compelling. But then a lot of the newer homes are gonna be $500,000, $600,000 plus. Okay, so beautiful place, but it's expensive. The next con is that it is not walkable at all. Like, none of Lakeville is walkable. You can do what I'm doing right now. You can take a walk, but you can't walk to the store. You can't walk to a restaurant unless you just happen to live right by the commercial area. But overwhelmingly, Lakeville is not walkable, which actually brings me to another con, which is that I find that the commercial areas in Lakeville are not particularly well consolidated. There are kind of two, maybe three if you count the old downtown parts of Lakeville that are like the commercial area. And they're honestly like kind of across Lakeville for one another. So there's a chance that you're gonna have to drive across Lakeville if you have two different stops to make. And I don't know, not the end of the world, but a little bit frustrating. And then the final con, and this is gonna depend on where you live within Lakeville. It's not happening right now, but I'm definitely on the northern edge of Lakeville, but is that there are fully operational farms in Lakeville and very nearby Lakeville. And with those farms comes the smell of manure or something. So, you might be sitting on your beautiful, deck of your beautiful new build home, and you might get a waft of some manure, which, doesn't exactly sound ideal to me, but you know what? I think it's worth it to be in Lakeville because it's a beautiful spot. Let's go for a ride. Okay, right now I'm on a walking path. It's right off this park called Wayside Park, and it's between two lakes. On this side is a lake called Kingsley Lake, and over here is Orchard Lake. It's like a beautiful bike path and everything. And this to me is kind of what Lakeville is about. All this beautiful natural space. And then I guess you could also say new build homes, kind of the McMansions, but they're beautiful new builds, basically 2000 and later, and a lot of stuff that's 2015 and later. But if you are into Lakeville, there's a few places to come to mind as other spots that might appeal to you. So for one, if you're into Lakeville because of the new build part of it, then a couple spots that come to mind would be Chanhassen, Savage, and I don't know, maybe Ramsey or Andover on the north side. If you specifically like where Lakeville is geographically located and you're trying to stay in the southern suburbs, and maybe you aren't exactly after this same exact vibe regarding new builds, maybe you want something a little more established, potentially a little bit more affordable, I would say a few spots that you might enjoy and you should check out videos of ours or just look into further would be Eagan, Apple Valley, Rosemount. And Eagan fits into this part as well, but two others that fit into almost what I would think of as being like a super suburb would be Maple Grove and Woodbury. And I think Maple Grove, Woodbury, Eagan, Lakeville, very good examples of that. But all right, I hope you've enjoyed this video so far. It's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. It's spring, this is what Minnesota is about. This lushness, this renewal of spring. Yeah, we do get winter here, but this is why it's really not that bad. And look, I say this in every video, but if you're considering making a move here to the Twin Cities, or if you're just buying a home here for the first time, you should do whatever you can to reach out to us. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com, or you can call us, text us, or email us at the information on the screen right here. Also, just want to say thank you to Nick and Alex. They are legitimately doing showings as we speak so that I can be here shooting these videos. If you work with us, you get 2 for the price of 1. They are absolute hustlers, and I promise that I will not steer you wrong. But all right, thank you for watching. As you exit this video, please, if you have not yet, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give this video a thumbs up, say what's up in the comments. My name is Jesse Lynch. Welcome to the Twin Cities, y'all.